How do you take all of this stuff and make it work on a local basis? And that's what Steve Yeich is going to be talking to us about. Steve is a man that is quite familiar with this area. He was formerly head of the local business unit for Overture, which was then acquired by Yahoo for local search. So he has a great deal of experience being one of the pioneers in this area. So Steve, come on up.
Thanks, Marshall. So yeah, I'm going to focus on the, Marshall talked about the funnel, so this is the bit of the funnel, sort of almost the, I guess, old school funnel of awareness. People don't even know who you're, that you're in business. You need to make them aware. And as we know, the searches are more and more happening online, right? Yellow Pages is a decline, newspapers subscription rates are in decline. So online searches are really taking the place of print Yellow Pages and other types of search. First stat there, 90% of consumers start their purchase online, doing research, looking for businesses, or doing some product research. Right? So getting found is really the hard part of being online. So it's, you know, a lot of companies think, well, boy, I'm going to build my website and the business will come. Right? Well, if the website's out there and nobody's visiting it, then nobody's going to know about your business. So again, another stat there I think is pretty interesting. 2/3 of Americans use Google. Obviously, Google is the leader. We're going to talk about Google and Bing and Yahoo. They're all important, but if you're going to start, you probably start first with Google, since they own about 2/3 of the share of search. So that's a good starting point, and you know, really you want to be getting on page one, right? So what we do, and what I think any local business, whether you've got one location, 1,000 locations, you need to think about, if you're a plumber, someone types in plumber in Irvine, you want to be on page one. Someone types in self-storage in Torrance, CA, and you're in the storage business, you want to be found on the first page. That's really what we do. So again, very different from Yellow Pages, traditional media that are really all in decline. And you know, it's different in a couple of ways. First of all, it's always changing, right? So that's, I think, one of the things I encourage people to do. Either you need to develop the expertise to do it, or you need to have someone on your team that has the expertise, or you need to have a third-party service provider, either individual or a firm that specializes in that, because the algorithms change constantly, right? So Google, in our world of local, Google just recently implemented something called these hybrid results, where they take the map results and the organic results, and they're combining those results. So we saw, it was very interesting, we saw some of our clients that had a big negative impact when it first rolled out, and now we've fixed that, right? We've taken advantage of what we now know the algorithms do, but others that actually had a big benefit from that. But the point is, you need to be monitoring that. You need to have some sort of system, even if it's a manual search type of a system, to see when you're ranking on page one and when you're not. And importantly, when you're not, you need to know what to do to get back up to page one ranking. Right, so, it goes back, yeah. So again, lots of options, and I'm talking mainly about local SEO, that's what Local Splash does, but there's lots of options. There's PPC, as you see there at the bottom, that's pay-per-click, right? So there's AdWords and other programs from Yahoo and Bing as well. AdWords is the Google program, probably best known. So that's something that is probably worth trying. I'd say probably you start with the local SEO, your best bang for the buck is going to be found in Google Maps, the other map products. Then you can look at PPC, you can look at email marketing, social media, which again we already heard a bit about that this morning. Banner ads, affiliate, video. That's actually something that we do, and video actually has a linkage in with even what we do in terms of local search, where more and more of your sort of search ranking is based on your other content that's out there. So if a video is out there and other content, let's say your pictures in your Google Places listing, all those things are going to help your search ranking, right? So they do go hand in hand, and in fact, that's what the search engines are looking for, is the rich, relevant content. So YouTube videos, pictures, updated data, reviews, etc. All of that's going to boost your ranking and get you up on page one. Okay. So how to budget so a website can actually cost less than what we see here. It might be, you know, $20 a month, up to tens of thousands of dollars to get a custom website set up. But again, if no one's visiting that site, it's not doing anybody much good. And obviously you need to be thinking about the on-site SEO. So in other words, there's ways to optimize the website itself, right? the titles and tags and things, fresh content, things you want to do with the website itself. And again, that's different. That's called on-site SEO. Right? So what local search is mainly about is off-site SEO. Right? So it's not so much about what you do to the site itself. It's more about going into Google Places, which is how you get your Google account actually verified, right, and claimed by the business. Right? So for us, we actually go through the process of claiming that listing for the business. Bing has the same sort of a PIN verification process. And then, of course, there's Yahoo, there's Merchant Circle, a lot of places you want to think about being if you're a local business. So again, PPC, I think it's worth experimenting, and that's the great thing. It's very easy to try PPC. You can get a campaign together, and literally the following day, if not in a few hours, you see your ads appearing. So, you know, it's great for that. You can be up and running quickly. You can try different messages, different offers, see what works. The downside is it can be costly, right? So you probably heard the stories about, well, shoot, I forgot to set my budget at, I thought my budget was $50 for the month, and shoot, it was really $5,000. So it's very easy, right, to burn through a lot of money doing PPC. And again, it's not to say you shouldn't do it. You probably should be doing it and experimenting and seeing what works for you. But you just need to have a constant eye on it. So it's back to that same message. Someone's got to be constantly managing and monitoring that account if you're going to take best effect, or if it's going to have a positive impact on your business. Many local SEO tools are free, right? So if you're willing and able, or someone on your team can go into Google, claim your business, you can do that for free. Same thing on Bing, same thing in Yahoo. You should, if you haven't done that already, you should be doing that. And again, whether that's one location or 1,000 locations, that's kind of the basic building blocks on how you eventually get up on page one. And that can be done for free, which again, I think that's kind of a no-brainer, something that everybody should be doing. So getting started, again, you need someone dedicated, at least part-time at your business if it's not yourself, to create fresh content, create your listings on search engines we just talked about, keep that information accurate, consistent, put new photos in, put new coupons in, for example. All that fresh content is looked at very well by the search engines, and that's how the rankings get higher. And again, the alternative is if you don't have the team in place or not willing to put the time in to do it in-house, you can always outsource it to a firm or an individual. So proving ROI can be difficult, right? That's one of the downsides with local SEO. So one of the things you can try is a tracking number. The challenge with tracking numbers, so you can actually assign a phone number. So when that phone number rings, you know that's from your Google listing. The challenge with that is that Google in particular doesn't like the tracking numbers, right? Because Google, again, they look at a lot of data. They look at longevity. How long have they seen that phone number associated with that business? If they see it over years and years, they say, I've got high trust, I'm going to put them high in the ranking. If they see suddenly a brand new phone number come in, they think, uh-oh, maybe there's some game playing, maybe, I'm not sure I trust this. So they probably will force what's called a PIN verification process to be done by a postcard rather than a phone call. So it extends things out. And again, it's likely to have a negative impact on the ranking. So you could try that, but we actually, for local, would not encourage tracking numbers to be used because they're probably counterproductive. Google coupons, the last slide I mentioned there, is probably something that is worth using, right? In fact, Google's rolling out an offers product. I've been in Portland doing some beta testing right now, so there's going to be more and more of these sort of offers and deal a day, similar to Groupon, right? That's in testing right now with Google. So I encourage you to use that, and that's obviously something that's very easy when someone calls in and says, give me the tracking number, whatever tracking number associated with Google. Your client gives you that, and you say, okay, I know that lead came from Google. So again, tracking numbers I've already talked to. The other things that you should be looking at, again, all this data comes from Google. Set up your Google Places account. You can see the traffic. You can see the clicks on actions, right? Driving directions. You're going to see how many people click to get driving directions to your location. So that data is very, very helpful to see to get at least a rough estimate on the amount of business that's coming either to you as foot traffic or phone calls to you. So again, top 3 problems. Sometimes it's difficult. Obviously, there's a group of folks who are not yet doing searches in Google. They're still going to the yellow pages, still going to newspapers, etc. That target segment, if that's important to you, maybe digital is less, or this local SEO is less of your marketing mix. However, over time, I think that segment is going to be declining significantly over time. Proving the ROI can be a challenge, as we just talked about. And some people do view online messages as being less trustworthy, less reliable relative to traditional media. So again, I'd say try new media. Some are going to work, and it's the beauty about, kind of a beauty and a curse, I suppose. It's the beauty about everything online. You can do it instantly, real time, specify different things, but that also means you need to have somebody there to optimize. And when you learn that something didn't work or that it did work, you need somebody there to say, okay, I'm going to do more of that and less of that. So it's good and bad. You need to have the resources in place to take advantage of it. Again, very dependent upon your business, right? So if, let's say, you've got an online e-commerce business, the local our service would probably not even be applicable. If you're not in a brick and mortar business, this type of local SEO may not even be relevant. But again, if you've got one location or 1,000, you should be doing local SEO. So what we use some on-site SEO, so the actual website itself. Of course, we also use the off-site SEO. So if you search for local SEO in Fountain Valley, you're going to find local splash. We certainly practice what we preach, and we do from time to time do some PPC campaigns that target particular verticals, particular categories. But again, we are pretty selective in how we use PPC. And that's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, our two-question rule. Go ahead.
Question on video. I hear that's the next major search engine that Google, with all their videos, are actually taking the verbiage in the videos and using that now for search, and that's why everybody's trying to get on the video bandwagon. Do you agree? What's your viewpoint?
I agree. I think over time it's going to, we've already seen it. For many of our clients, we do provide a video. It's an optional piece of our service, and for our clients that use it, we actually, again, generally speaking, they get a lift when they use a video. So we certainly encourage it. So, and again, it's kind of, unfortunately, it's sort of back to the whole challenge of digital. It's not just sort of one thing. So it can't be just a video. It's got to be video along with the other techniques and programs that you'll hear from today.
No, go ahead.
Well, my question is about the pay-per-click advertising. I'm a manufacturer, so I have products actually for major e-commerce like Target, and then I try to put money for pay-per-click advertising, but the thing is they're bigger, and then is that worth it? Like compete with your own competitor, but also you try to build your own brand to have people come to your site. So that's kind of a little bit conflict. What's your suggestion on that?
Right. I'd be happy to talk offline about the details of that. I think my general message when everything in PPC is you need to be very, very careful in how you select your terms, right? So the other thing, and I thought this is maybe where you're going with this, is especially if you're picking broad terms, you're very easily going to get non-relevant clicks and costly clicks if you've got some very general types of terms. So the more specific you can get, the better off you're going to be in terms of optimizing those PPC campaigns. And again, beyond that, I'll be happy to talk to you afterwards about the details of your campaign. Thanks.
Thank you, Steve.